Hello everyone, I'm Linda Nunzig, the Snohomish County Agriculture Coordinator and Division Manager for the Agriculture Office.
And I'm Rachel Batson. I'm the Project Manager with Snohomish County Parks for the Food and Farming Center.
We're so pleased that you were able to join us today. Our agenda for the day is I'm going to start talking about the project overview, the exciting things that we're doing. We're going to talk about the Food and Farming Center programming, and then I'm going to turn it over to Rachel, and she's going to talk about the park site, the funding and the project budget, and then we're going to move on to the process and next steps. We're excited to hear what you have to say at the end of the program. From here, now let's move into the project overview. Agriculture in Snohomish County is a thriving industry. We see this sector continue to grow. Every 5 years, USDA does an ag census. What it shows us is really a big snapshot of what's happening in the nation when it comes to agriculture. Our farm gate value here in Snohomish County, which is the amount of money farmers are selling product for, has increased every 5 years. We went from $139.4 million in 2012 to almost $158 million in 2017. Unlike other places, our cropland is also increased. We went from 29,000 acres in 2012 to 33,000 acres in 2017. Our land is being put into more production. The exciting thing is also that we have a lot of new and beginning farmers coming to Snohomish County. We increased by 31%, which is above the state average. People want to come to Snohomish County to farm. We have excellent soils and tremendous support for our agricultural community. The number of farms increased. We went from just over 1,400 farms to 1,558 farms in 2017. Everything that we do in Snohomish County government when it comes to agriculture is led by the farmers. They identify the infrastructure that they need to be economically viable. We then work with our farmers to really distill down what they need and how we can best assist. In order to provide the infrastructure that they need on farm, it's too costly. There are so many regulations that are now required in order to be able to sell some of the foods that they're growing, that to put that infrastructure in would be exorbitant. So how can we work together with our farmers to be able to provide the infrastructure that they can't necessarily do on the farms themselves, but is drastically needed? Working with our farmers, they identified 3 main components that are missing the most and that will have the highest impact to their farms. They included processing, aggregation, and distribution for their farm products. They identified processing those products so that they can reach more markets. A commercial kitchen for doing value-added production, and a year-round indoor farmers market that will allow sales throughout the year. Let's talk about the project vision. We're going to start with the food processing, aggregation, and distribution facility and why it's important. Over the years, regulations such as the Food Safety Modernization Act have been put into place, which is needed, but it makes it much too expensive for farmers to be able to put the processing facility on their farms. As many farms are in the floodplain, this doesn't allow that to happen. So building a processing and distribution site that allows the farmers to bring their product into one location, have it all processed and distributed, is very efficient for the farmers. So instead of having, let's say, 50 different farmers on the road driving their product to Seattle, where most of the project is sold, you'll now have just one truck on the road doing everybody's distribution. Then the farmers can be back on the farm farming. I also want to add that the facility will focus on produce and not meat products. Within the processing, aggregation, and distribution facility, we'll also incorporate cold storage and explore opportunities to include office space and classroom space. We'll be able to do things such as wash, slice, dice, individual quick freeze, dehydration, all kinds of things that will allow farmers to grow more product and open more market doors. Whether you are a farmer or not, one of the biggest pieces of infrastructure that's constantly being asked for is a commercial kitchen. Food trucks need a commercial kitchen. Bakers are looking for a commercial kitchen. And when it comes to our farmers, creating a value-added product so that they can sell product year-round, have a higher income because of it being processed into something else. Let's take strawberries, for example. If you go strawberries, you've only got strawberries ripe for about a month and a half, and that's when all your income is coming in. But if you could grow strawberries and freeze them in the processing facility and have them available year-round to be able to process into, let's say, strawberry jam or a strawberry tart, you would be able to sell that year-round. That would bring income in throughout the year, not just in that 2-month period of time. You could then sell strawberry jam at the farmer's market. Maybe you're in the local food co-op with your products. The third component of the Snohomish County Food and Farming Center is the farmer's market. Many farmers love to connect with the community, and it's a great opportunity for the community to talk with the growers. It's also the best local and fresh food you can find. However, there's typically a limited time frame when we can go to the farmers markets. Farmers grow specifically for that season, and once the farmers markets close, there really isn't a market for them to sell at. So they stop growing. But what if we went into the winter time and we could have a cup of coffee and we could go through and buy fresh bread, all kinds of greens and jams? Farmers could extend their growing season later into the fall and start earlier in the spring. A lot of our farmers have hoop houses and greenhouses which allow year-round production. A year-round indoor farmers market is not only a great opportunity for the farmers, but it's also great for the community. Now let's talk about the operations of the facility. The county will not be the operator of the facility. However, we will be providing a turnkey lease for each of the operations after construction. The county plans to bring on 3 operators, 1 operator for each of the 3 components of the Food and Farming Center. The Community Advisory Board and I will provide support for the operators, ensuring the operations of the Food and Farming Center stay true to their mission and vision, and ensuring long-term success. Snohomish County spent many years looking for just the right location for the Snohomish County Food and Farming Center. That location is McCollum Park. It is perfectly situated for farmers coming down I-5, up Highway 9, across Highway 2, to be able to easily access it, deliver their product, and get back on the road to their farms. It's perfect for distribution when it comes to trucks coming in and heading right down to Seattle loaded with local farm products. For the farmers market, it couldn't be better. It is located near thriving neighborhoods. It's located right at a transit station. It provides the best opportunity for the neighborhood, for further travelers to be able to come in, spend time in the market, enjoy the excitement a farmer's market provides, and leave with their groceries for the week. Our vision for the Snohomish County Food and Farming Center. We want to ensure a vibrant and successful agricultural community for Snohomish County, not just for now, but well into the future. We also want to make sure we have food security and increased access for the underserved and our disadvantaged communities to procure healthy local foods in our own backyards. We want to connect the community to their farmers. Farmers love to know who's enjoying their product, and consumers want to know where their product came from and know who grew it. We want to craft an energizing and integrated park experience for the whole public We also are stewards. We want to be a steward for the environment and the health of the site and well beyond. You've seen our vision for what the Snohomish County Food and Farming Center is, so now let's dive a little bit deeper into the programming itself. Here's a snapshot of what we envision the Food and Farming Center to look like. This is an early drawing, so a lot of things could change. This right now is a 40,000 square foot building. Here's a drawing of what we envision for the processing facility. As fresh fruits and vegetables come in, they go directly to the wash and pack room. Once they're cleaned and ready for the next phase, they may go to the dehydrator room. Maybe they will go to the IQF room where they'll go through an individual quick freeze or a blast freezer to be used later. They could go into the processing room also for bottling, canning, jarring, or they go directly to the warehouse to be shipped out. Below on the left is an artist rendering of a packing facility. Here you can see the individuals are grading the tomatoes as they're going down the next line. Others you can see are packing, sorting. You can see the warehousing on the left. That's all being ready for delivery. If we look on the right-hand side, this is a photo that I took recently of a bottling system where fresh fruit was brought in, turned into something else, bottled, and out it went. In these photos, you can see on the left is a packaging equipment where they have heat sealing and some other items. On the right, here's the full bottling line where you can see where the bottles would come through. They would be weighed, they would be labeled, they would be sealed, and then they're packaged up ready to go. You'll notice on this slide that the largest space within the Food and Farming Center is the warehousing space. That is identified by the farmers as what they really need the most. This includes cold storage and freezer storage, very important. We've got loading docks here for box trucks and if need be a semi truck to be able to come in. We've got a lot of storage so that we can aggregate product to all be able to go out together. There's plenty of room for dry storage as well. Warehousing can come in many different forms as farmers and bakers need different space requirements. If we look to the left, there's small lockers that are rollable that are available. But then when we look to the right here, you can see very large storage. So you've got farms, right, this picture right here that have CSA boxes. We've got dry storage available on the right here where there's everything from empty boxes ready to be folded up and filled with produce. There's dry goods on here. The cold storage would be filled typically with fresh fruits and vegetables, also could have meat products in it as well, ready for distribution. The freezer storage typically has frozen fruits and vegetables in it, as well as frozen meat and fish. Let's talk a little bit about the distribution side. All trucks will be entering through the Dumas entrance, but chances are you're probably never going to see them very often because most of them will be coming in the early morning hours. This will make it easy for folks to get in and out of the stream center. The park and ride will not be disrupted. And because we're at the south end of the building, the farmers market will not see any of the traffic. Don't expect to see a lot of semis coming and going from the Food and Farming Center. If you look at the truck here on the left, these are box trucks. That's the average size of the distribution trucks that you'll be seeing coming and going. On the right, this is an average distribution site for a warehouse for food products. Let's move on to the commercial kitchen. Right now we're estimating 4,500 square feet for the commercial kitchen. This will include the dry storage, cold and freezer storage. The way we have it designed here is it's set up in stations. If you are needing the ranges, you are in that station. If you are a baker, there's a special station set up just for you. There will be several working spaces in the kitchen with equipment and appliances available. The commercial kitchen will be available as a commissary kitchen as well as a commercial kitchen space. Many commercial kitchens, when you rent the commercial kitchen, you get the entire kitchen, but you only get what equipment is there. As you can see here on the left, there are many different people in there doing many different things, but not all kitchens are designed that way. The vision that we have for the commercial kitchen and what you saw in the graphic earlier is this kitchen is set up in stations. Let's say, for example, you have a soup recipe that is your grandmother's soup recipe that you absolutely love, and everybody else does too. So you would like to make that soup and have it be available for sale. You could be buying things from local farmers, such as chicken, let's say. And then you've got somebody else that is a pasta maker that you want to make chicken noodle soup out of and with fresh carrots. You could rent the portion of the kitchen that has a soup kettle, and you would be able to prepare that in that portion of the kitchen while somebody else could be using the ovens to bake bread, for example. Office and support space is important too. We have just over 6,000 square feet dedicated specifically for that. This includes the administrative offices, the meeting rooms, shared bathrooms, of course, and the electrical, mechanical, janitorial, and circulation spaces. Now on to the piece we know everybody is excited about, and that's the farmers market. We have 8,500 square feet of interior farmer market space. This is that warm, cozy place that can be closed up in the winter with 28 vendor stalls in it. Come summertime, let's open up those big doors and expand outside with many, many more farmers market stalls. It will also include a demonstration kitchen so we can all learn how to cook with that great new produce, storage space and washrooms, and of course the dual purpose community space when it's not being a farmer's market. Maybe that's where your next community meeting is. The 4-H is in there working on some stuff. So many community uses that'll be available for it. In this rendering, we can see the outside come inside. We're protected from all the outside weather, but the sunshine is making its way through. The big light airy spaces open up to fresh fruits, produce, vegetables, and every bit of yumminess you can imagine. Once springtime hits and things are really growing again and being harvested, we can open up the doors on the farmer's market and grow beyond those 28 indoor farmer's market stalls. With room for more than 30 outdoor farmer's market stalls, you can wander and find the best of the best in the farmer's market. Enjoy the sunshine, pick up the fresh goodies for the day, and enjoy the music. Plans are to also have a demonstration kitchen inside of the indoor market so that you can learn from some of the top chefs how to use all that good stuff that you just bought. Now, let's pass it over to Rachel and let's learn more about the site.
Thanks, Linda. This section is going to be a quick summary of the work planned at McCollum Park. As Linda mentioned, the Food and Farming Center is going to be at McCollum Park, which is one of our busy community parks. The park is home to a cricket field, the community transit park and ride, BMX track, the Northwest Stream Center, several trails, a playground, and a live action role playing group. One of the goals of our project vision is to craft an energizing and integrated park experience by providing a multi-use project that will activate McCollum Park throughout the year and foster a sense of community in the park. Part of achieving this goal is to make sure we don't disrupt these existing park activities and that the FFC can be a complementary feature at McCollum. So for example, if folks come here on a Sunday to play cricket or walk on the trails, They may also enjoy visiting the farmers market and vice versa. There are several site constraints that affect the overall project, including map fault lines, small wetlands, and North Creek and its floodplain. These have code and permitting implications that we've considered in the design and the actual siting of the new building. McCollum is also on top of a closed landfill, which is one of the biggest site constraints. Part of the new building is sited over the closed landfill, and we'll be exploring construction options for this as we move forward. This could include preloading the site or building the structure on deep foundations that extend below the landfill refuse to the solid base below. In the validation phase, we explored 4 overall areas at McCollum to place the new building, and they're shown here with our selected site, Site A, shown in the red bubble. The things that made Site A more desirable for the Food and Farming Center is that it's over a shallower landfill area, which saves a lot on construction costs if we're not building on the deeper parts of the landfill. We can utilize existing parking and not have to build new parking lots. It's less impact to the existing uses around the site. We're really close to the community transit parking lot to utilize that for overflow during market days. It's very visible from 128th and will hopefully draw more people into the site to come here on market days. And it has overall a larger square footage, so that allowed us some flexibility as we get into more detailed design. This image shows a plan for the Food and Farming Center at the site. As I mentioned, it's sited to coexist with the other park uses, which can be a great opportunity on busy farmers market days. The building is located over the top of the existing playground site, and we know we'll need to relocate the play area. So we've identified the area just north of the Northwest Stream Center as an opportunity in the future to design a playful and educational community space that can be utilized by park users and also by the Northwest Stream Center. As we get a little further along with the design for the FFC, we'd begin a separate process to envision this space. It may include keeping one or both of the existing park buildings or not. The design process could start in a year or so, but if you have comments about the potential park uses, feel free to let us know now. Sustainability is an important part of this project, and I have a quick summary of our plan here. The project is going to be salmon safe and LEED Gold certified, and some elements of the design that are going to help us achieve those certifications include reusing stormwater and rainwater for the irrigation system, not encroaching and potentially enhancing the North Creek buffer zone, treating stormwater on site with planted rain gardens, and increasing the tree canopy. And then lastly, the building will be a high efficiency building structure that minimizes carbon emissions. In this next section, we'll be talking about the project budget. Our overall cost estimate, which reflects construction costs, is around $60 million. Construction and permitting on a landfill site around the fault lines do add to the cost of construction here at McCollum. It's higher than originally anticipated, and as we get into the next phase, we'll be working with the consultant team to explore design options that reduce the overall costs, and we'll be looking into phasing options that will make the facility more affordable. For our project funding, we've secured nearly $15 million in local funding and state and federal grants, and we're continuing to seek additional grants and funding for the project. In the validation phase, we completed a grant scan that identified over 80 grant, loan, and philanthropic opportunities that we'll be exploring further as we move forward. We're also going to be focusing on seeking public-private partnership opportunities that can help bring additional funding. Considering the overall cost estimate of the project and also potentially other funding sources, we've determined we'll need to build the facility in 1 or more phases. We set a target budget of $30 million for the first phase of construction, and the graphic on the right shows we have approximately $15 million to raise for construction of phase 1. As we start to get into the detailed design, we'll have a better idea of what options we have for phasing the project. Phase 1 could potentially include building the full building, but not fully building out the interior spaces, possibly building 2 separate buildings, where phase 1 could be just the farmers market or just the warehouse and processing spaces. This could include temporarily utilizing the existing WSU and parks buildings down by the Stream Center for certain components of the Food and Farming Center, like office space or warehousing. And there are other options that we're going to be exploring as the design team is onboarded for our next phase. This leads us to one very important question we have for you all, and you'll see this in the online survey as well. We're interested in hearing from you which of the Food and Farming Center's components are most important to you to build first. So in that survey, we're going to ask you to rank the farmers market, processing space, warehouse, commercial kitchen, office and support space, and the park and site improvements in order of priority. We'll wrap up this presentation with this last section about our process and next steps for the project. We recently completed the validation phase of the project, and during that time, we worked with an advisory committee that included farmers, operators of similar facilities, and others in the ag industry to help develop the vision and needs for the Food and Farming Center. We visited several similar facilities that serve as good examples for us and did a lot of outreach during this phase to help us understand the space needs and the equipment needed for the Food and Farming Center. Some other project successes so far include securing 4 grants for design and construction. The full validation phase process started last summer and concluded with a validation report that is over 1,000 pages and includes summaries of the project vision, site analysis and site studies, and also detailed work plans for the landfill and permitting. Most importantly, this report gives us the understanding of what components, equipment, and square footages we need for the facility in order for it to be successful for our farmers. This is showing a basic project timeline from early design through construction of phase 1. Starting at the top, we're showing that we'll continue to seek funding until we start construction. Next, we've completed several site studies like the topographic survey, geotechnical studies, and hazard assessments, and we've recently completed the validation phase. So we're currently working on hiring an architecture and design team to work on the detailed design and permitting, and they should be getting started early next year. The strawberries are indicating points in the timeline when we plan to gather feedback from the community and from our advisory committee group. And we plan to seek feedback at least a couple more times in the design process. So this would all lead to an anticipated construction timeline in 2027 and opening the first phase of the facility in 2028. So that wraps up our presentation for the Food and Farming Center. I wanted to let everybody know we do have an online survey open through November 10th. You can use the QR code or the link shown here on this slide. It's a very brief survey, but we would really appreciate your feedback on what you've heard today and how we move forward with that phase 1 project. And of course, if you ever want any updates on the project, feel free to visit our project webpage. The link is here. Thank you so much for viewing this presentation, and we're really looking forward to hearing your feedback.